Oh dear. Okay, well, I'm just going to start. I think we more or less, well, I'm going to stop here because this is quite a famous, important verse. We may have already been through it before, but we can go through that. Okay, so sorry for the delay, everyone. Welcome, Lynn, who also just joined us. So we are going to pick up from verse 54 of the 18th chapter. Brahmabhuta prasanatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. The joyful-hearted, enlightened soul who has attained his divine nature neither sorrows nor desires. Seeing all beings equally, he comes to attain transcendental loving devotion to me. So this is quite a well-known verse, which is often quoted by our gurus, and describing the nature of the soul who's realized their spiritual nature. Na shochati na kankshati. They neither lament after anything nor hanker after anything of this mundane world, right? Because they understand I'm spirit. Right? What do I care for this world of matter? Everything in this world is coming and going, right? But the soul is untouched by that whole plane. It has nothing to do with this plane. So normally in the mundane conditioned state, we are hankering after something, or we're lamenting over what we don't have. And here's Subhasini also. We're lamenting over losing things, right? We're hankering after things that we don't have. This is the mundane condition. But the enlightened soul, they're all prasanatma, they're always joyful, they're always happy. They're experiencing the bliss of the soul, and they're indifferent to this temporary plane of matter. And sama sarveshu bhuteshu. They see everything in this world on an equal level, right? They're not impressed by the wealth, by the opulences, by the prospects of this mundane plane. They're neither impressed by someone who is, very highly positioned, nor disgusted by someone who is in a degraded position. It's all on an equal level for them. A king and a beggar on the street, they're on an equal platform, right? Everyone is Atma, everyone is soul. Mad bhaktim labhate param. So this is kind of an interesting point, because this verse is describing someone who hasn't quite entered the door of devotion to the Lord, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj has described it. They've reached this pure state, like a state of enlightenment of the soul, but they haven't actually begun their full-fledged life of devotion with the Lord, loving relationship with the Lord. Because the way Krishna is saying it here, Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param, saying that they will come to attain, right? They're now on a pure platform from which they will come to attain. They're in the doorways, Srila Sridhar Maharaj expresses it in one place. But not totally there, right? And then the question may also arise, right, that, oh, does this mean that the only way for one to attain devotion for the Lord, if they have achieved this, very high state of, enlightenment of the soul? That is not necessarily the case, right? By the grace of the Lord, by the grace of Guru, the grace of the Vaishnavas, then we may transcend over so many things. It is possible. It's not that necessarily we have to go step by step through some rigid, like, promotion system. But as our Gurudev said, it is like when you connect in this line, it is like you're getting on the elevator. You don't have to go through all the stairs, But this may be one path that one takes. Okay, so the next verse, Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavanyaschashmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. Through devotion, he realizes that I am the Lord of all potencies and the sweet absolute. Then, realizing his divine relationship with me, he enters the company of my intimate associates who are non-different from my very self. So this line here, you'll hear quoted by our gurus, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Krishna is saying that one can know me through bhakti, through devotion. Love and devotion, that is the actual means by which we can attract the Lord, not through dry cultivation of our brain intellectual capacity, but through the heart, right? And this is repeated everywhere throughout the scriptures. Premanjana Chrita Bhakti Vilochane, right? Through the eyes of love, right? The pure-hearted sadhus, they're always seeing me. So it is love, the force of love and affection, devotion, surrender that has the power to actually capture the infinite. The infinite will be captured within the fist of the finite, right? Such a thing is possible. This is the power of love. Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madhyapashrayaha matprasadadavapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam. Although ever active in all duties, those who have taken refuge in me attain by my grace the eternal, indestructible plane of service. Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasya matpadaha buddhi yoga mupashritya matchitta satatam bhava. Wholeheartedly offering your every action to me, keeping me as the supreme objective, and fully dedicating your intelligence to me, being unattached to worldly action, be ever devoted to me. Matchitta sarva durgani matprasada tadishyasi ata chetvam ahankadan nashosyasi vinangshasi. Giving your heart to me, you will be able to overcome all obstacles by my grace. But if out of pride you do not hear my words, you do not heed my words, you will perish. Yadahankanam ashitya naryotya iti manyase mityaiva vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshati. Out of pride you are thinking, I shall not fight. But your decision will be in vain, for your nature as a kshatriya will compel you to fight. So this is a point which is discussed more earlier in Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna is saying you don't have to repress your mundane nature, right? But carry out your duty according to what your mundane nature is with the spirit of detachment, right? This is the true path to liberation. Not to repress, but to express in a dutiful and detached manner. Very, very beautiful, isn't it? Very nice system, nice advice. Very nice advice. This book, Bhagavad Gita. Check it out. Swabhavajena kunteya nibadha svena karmana kartum nechasi anmohat kadishyasva shopitat. O Kunteya, being bound by the duty born of your nature, that very action which out of delusion you are now avoiding will be inevitably executed by you. Ishvara sarva bhutanam viddeshe arjuna tishtati Ramayam sarva bhutani yancharudani mayaya. O Arjuna, the Supreme Lord is situated in the hearts of all beings, and by his deluded And by his deluding potency, he causes them to revolve through many existences, like puppets riding carousel. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim stanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Very comforting verse. Tameva, I've heard, oh, what happened? Uh-oh, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry. I'm also hosting today, so I'm a little all over the place. So I wanted to admit Steve, and I turned off our screen share. Okay. Okay. We're back. So we're here in this verse 62. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim stanam prapsyasi shashvatam. O Bharata, wholeheartedly surrender to him. Sarva bhavena, it's a nice translation, wholeheartedly. Sarva bhavena means like sarva is all, everything, right? Bhavena, I believe this is coming from the word bhav, which means, emotion, heart, feeling. So it is a very nice translation, wholeheartedly, with every, sentiments within you, with every strand of your feeling, your heart, give yourself to him. And tat prasadat, prasad, right, grace. By his grace, you will attain the supreme peace. Padam shantim, right? Shanti, right? This is a very popular aspired after state of being, right? Shanti, peace. But there are different conceptions of Shanti, right? And there is a gradation in the quality of Shanti. But this is the Param Shanti, Supreme Shanti. That is only possible when we are truly realizing our nature as loving servitors of the Lord. Otherwise, it is whatever Shanti you can attain through other practices, it is temporary. It's some temporary artificial repression, right, of our true nature. But it's only when we can square ourselves up, right, against the infinite, the whole, really find our place in connection with the whole, then we can attain lasting peace, lasting Shanti. And that is Shashvatam, that is of eternal nature. Utite jnanamakyatam guyad guyataram maya vimishyaitada sheshena yate chasita tapudu. I have now revealed more and more profound teachings to you. Duly consider this and then do as you wish. So this line is very nice. Yate chasita tapudu. So at the end of all this, like, how all these verses of instruction in Bhagavad Gita. I don't remember how many verses it is, but Krishna's given all this time and energy, giving all these instructions to Arjuna. But here at the end, he's saying in this very humble and detached way, now you can do as you like. You asked me for my opinion. I gave you my opinion, right? I did my duty. And now you can do whatever you like. Right? It's actually such a liberating way to live, right? When you're just, because normally we're in this consciousness of cause and effect, right? And the concept and the conception of ownership, right? This is all part of the ahankara. I do, right? I do, and therefore this is mine. I have done this, and I own the results of that, right? So then we apply that, we impose that thinking upon the free will of others, right? I've put all my effort. Like sometimes we'll experience this, like, you know, we live in this mode of being in many different ways, but sometimes it comes out, it manifests in a very pronounced way, and how ridiculous it is becomes very apparent, right? It's like sometimes you may experience that someone goes to a lot of trouble to do something for us, which we never wanted them to do, right? And then they'll be angry at us, right? Oh, you didn't appreciate everything that I did for you. I didn't want you to do that, actually. Actually, what you did made my life difficult. But it's actually a very unreasonable way to live, right? Oh, I did this for you and I did that for you, and you didn't do anything in return for me, or you didn't appreciate what I did. But that was your choice to do that. I didn't ask you to do that. So this is true, wholesome, and healthy, you know, thinking. And what we do because it is our duty to do, or on a higher level because we want to do it. We have love to do it, right? And how the environment responds, that's a separate matter. That's not our business, right? Whatever we do, it should be because we wanted to do it, or we felt it was our duty to do. And we should live with that type of like inner, it's actually a very strong position to be in. It's a very powerful position to be in. Like what we did is complete in itself. I am complete by how I have chosen to act, and I'm not depending on the environment giving me a pat on the head. I don't need that. I'm not depending on some particular finite entity or some finite limited circumstance to approve me, right? It's actually a supremely powerful way to live, right? That we are full, we are complete in everything that we do. We are doing our duty, we are doing what we want to do, out of love. And however the reaction comes on the, you know, from the environment, that is a separate matter. So it is a very powerful way to live, actually. So Krishna here, I mean, it's quite interesting if you think about it. Krishna's given all these instructions, and they're coming to the end of 18 chapters of instructions, so many hundreds of verses of instruction. And Krishna's saying very humbly, very detached, now, you know, I've done my, you asked me a question, you gave some duty to me and asking me a question. I have knowledge, so it's my duty to share that. So I've done my duty, and now it's up to you what you do, right? I'm not enforcing my will over you, right? It's quite a profound meditation. It really is. I'm not going to extend the world of my egoistic thinking upon, I'm not going to impose my egoistic will upon the environment, right? Now I want to control the reactions of others. I want to control how the environment responds to my egoistic action. No, but I'm doing what I should do, what I want to do. And that is complete in itself. No, that is complete in itself. It is you know, like just in doing that, there is perfection. Oh, thank you. Sarvaguyatamam bhuya shinu me paramam vachaha ishtosi magridamitu tato vakshami dehitam. Now again, hear my supreme teaching, the most hidden treasure of all. I tell you this for your benefit, as you are most dear to me. Now in the commentary. According to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vidva Danjan Commentary 9.1, the wisdom of self-realization in the second and third chapters of Sri Gita are the profound Guhyam teachings of Lord Sri Krishna. The Lord's descriptions of himself as the Supreme in the 7th and 8th chapters are more profound, Guyataram, as such knowledge gives birth to devotion. In chapter 9, the most profound Guyatamam teachings begin as the Lord describes the symptoms of exclusive devotion, Kevala Bhakti. Because his devotee Arjuna is very dear to him, the Lord now repeats his secret teaching for Arjuna's benefit. This time, however, he reveals his most hidden of all hidden treasures, Sarva Guyatamam, his most affectionate advice. Arjuna, you are most dear to me, so I will now divulge the whole truth to you. Now this 65. And this verse 65, the first line is actually repeated twice in Bhagavad Gita. It's here and it's also in another place. It's Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Vaishasi Satyam Te Patijane Priyosi Me. Think of me always, devote yourself to me, worship me, and bow to me, and surely you will come to me. I promise you this because you are dear to me. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Param Guru Maharaj, he mentions this verse in Search for Sri Krishna, Reality, the Beautiful, and he comments how shamelessly Krishna is expressing himself here, canvassing for himself here, how shamelessly, right? He's saying, right, please always think of me, love me, worship me, serve me, bow to me. How can anyone say such a thing? Is it coming out of arrogance? No, it is because he knows. He's shamelessly begging us to love him and worship him. Why? Because he knows that is what is good for us. You know? It is like, you could think of it the way a mother, right, may appeal to her child. Please listen to me, right? It may sound like ego, but it is actually out of her sincere love for her child. Like, you are my little child. You're a little ignorant right now, so you can't understand things clearly. So trust me, you know, just listen to me. Do what mama says, right? So Krishna is speaking to us like that. Please, I entreat you. Just listen to me, love me, serve me, worship me, bow to me, and you will attain everything. I promise you this because you are dear to me, because I love you, care for you. This is not for my own gain, my own benefit, but this is what is best for you. And now we've reached it, 1866, the clarion call of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And I'm sure everyone in our group knows this verse. Sarva dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami ma shuchaha. Give up all kinds of religion and surrender to me alone. I will liberate you from all sins. Do not despair. So this is quite a radical statement, isn't it? If you think about it, it's like it's in conflict with many other instructions which are given earlier in Bhagavad Gita. Right? Krishna has gone through a lot of trouble to explain karma yoga, gone through a lot of trouble to explain jnana yoga, right? He's described also in detail, you know, practices of Ashtanga yoga. And And now he's saying here, forget all other types of religion, all other dharmas, all other practices. Just exclusively come to me. Right? And as he's saying in the previous verse, in love me, serve me, bow to me. You'll get everything like that, in that way. Mam ega, this eka means one. Mam ekam, only me. Exclusively me, and you don't have to worry about anything else. And if you do that, right, there may be some consequences. If you leave aside your general duty, if you leave aside the general course of duty that you've taken up in this world, then there may be some consequences. But he's saying, don't worry, ma shuchaha, don't worry about that. I'll take care of that. I will liberate you from all sin. Any sin, any consequences that will arise from you neglecting your lower duty, right? You're coming to attend to a higher duty in serving me. For our higher, spiritual call, spiritual duty, and we may give up certain things in our lives, right? Which may cause pain to others, which may cause some problems in different areas of our life and the lives of others, right? But Krishna is saying here, I'll take care of that. I will bear the consequences. I will protect you. So you give your focus to this highest duty that you have in connection with me. This is the revolutionary path. These are two lines which are outlined in the scriptures and in a condensed way in Bhagavad Gita, right? The constitutional path and the revolutionary path. There's this step-by-step, go through all these different processes, or there's just come directly to me, right? There's the bureaucracy, you can think of it like that. There's going through the bureaucracy of the general Vedic practices, or there's just, making friends with the guy at the top. Entering into the family of the Lord, having a family relationship versus being part of the bureaucracy, right? Part of the system. So Krishna is opening this door here to everyone. Just come to me, follow this revolutionary path, and I'll take care of everything for you. And we'll read this commentary, but I'll just point out briefly here. It's interesting. You'll see Srila Maharaj will explain more. But this word Raja, right? You see here, and this Raja, when we see Raja, we think of Vrindavan, Krishna's abode, right? Raja is a name for, or Braja, Bengalis would say Braja. This is a name for Vrindavan, right? But this Braja, it is also a verb, which means like to go, something like that. So that's how it's being used in this verse as a verb. But there's also it's also naturally you will be reminded of Vrindavan, right, when you hear this word, and there's also that hidden meaning, right? Surrender to me like the residents of Vrindavan, that exclusive, most loving way. And our Gurudev, he also mentioned, I don't think it's mentioned in the commentary here, but our Gurudev also mentioned how, because you see, we're like pretty much after this, there's just a few more verses, right? And our Gurudev mentioned when Krishna, then it all ends, right? So our Gurudev mentioned when Krishna heard Raja, he's saying it himself, but just echoing that word, it reminds him of Vrindavan. And then he's in so much ecstasy, he doesn't want to continue with this conversation anymore. He's thinking about his beloved devotees in Vrindavan. And so after this, he just kind of hurriedly speaks a few more verses, and then the conversation closes. His heart is absorbed in remembering his devotees. Okay, so we can read this commentary. Here, the glory of the hidden purpose in the Bhagavad Gita is sung. Gita Gudartha Gauravam. Give up all engagements and come to me. You won't have to repent, Arjuna, because I am everything to you and you are everything to me. This is the most hidden of all hidden truths. What more can I say? And you will find this in Braja. There is a literary ornament in Sanskrit called Dvani, echo, by which a word echoes suggests an additional meaning. Here, such a hint is given. Mam ekam sharanam Braja. You may go to Braja, and there you will find the most hidden of all hidden truths, Sarva Guyatamam. The deepest secret of the inner loving heart has been fully revealed there. I am beyond all conceptions of religion, society, friends, everything. My position is above everything and in the heart of everything. In the eternal land of Braja, you will experience the whole conception of beauty. Dismiss all other engagements and prospects and come to me alone. Your inner hankering will be fulfilled beyond your expectations. You will find such dignity in me that you will be beyond reaction and repentance. This is the deepest meaning of the highest glory. I'm so sorry. Could you give me just some water? Yeah. Thank you. This is the deepest meaning of the highest glory. If one comes to this conception, everything else will be seen as sin. Aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayasami. Everything conceived of as duty or purity in this material world will be seen as sinful, and all conceptions of religiosity will be reduced to the level of sin. In the absolute plane, everything and everyone belongs wholly to Krishna, and the slightest deviation from this ideal is no better than committing sin. Mere self-forgetfulness leads to impersonalism and culminates in deep slumber. But self-forgetfulness, sarvadhamam prityaja, in Krishna's service, mam ekam sharanam Braja, is positive and living. It is the full absolute plane of life. And there's one, this reminds you, there's this one verse, it's cited in our Gurudev cites it in his introduction to Sharanagati, and perhaps it's originally in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it's saying that someone who is renounced from this world and a Vaishnava, they may appear externally to be the same, right? But internally, the standpoint is different. The Vaishnava is not just detached from this world, but they are dedicated, right, to the service of the Lord. There's that positive aspect. Whereas the general, renunciate, they're just simply living in, aloof from this mundane flow, but there's no positive, progressive element of devotion there. Right? And that is what we are interested in. And that is the only sustainable position also. It is the full, absolute plane of life. Any other conception of being is incomplete and not full. The hidden treasure attracts our hearts. We have been deprived of our heart's deepest interest. Though we have a natural claim to it, it has been hidden from us. Shruti bir vimrigyam. In an unparalleled way, Sri Gita considers all these aspects and directs us to the correct meaning and conclusion of all the Upanishads. From this point, the Srimad Bhagavatam begins. In the verse, Braja means go. And Braja is also a name of Vrindavan. Oh, sorry, this is a footnote to the earlier comment. Okay, so that's the end of that explanation. So back to the text. Idam te natapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana nacha shushushave vacham nacha mamyo yasuyati You should never disclose this hidden treasure to one devoid of self-sacrifice, to the non-devotee, to the faithless, to one who is averse to my service, or to one who is resentful towards me. It's interesting, isn't it? You know, that Krishna's really emphasizing what he's actually saying here is I only want a relationship of love with people, right? Like if you think about the history of religion, past and even in the present, it still goes on. There's a lot of like forceful, there's forceful imposition of one's religion, right? And we don't need to mention any by name, but or mention any specific incidents, but it's a common thing, that is just throughout history. Where there are persons who will be threatened with their lives, right, if they won't accept a religion. There are persons who will be bribed, for this. These things go on today. But Krishna is saying, only give this to people who want it. I'm not just trying to gain a big following. Right? That's not the idea here. But I want to love people who want to love me, right? I want to reveal myself to people who love me or want to love me. This is an important factor here. So don't force this on anyone. Even give this to someone who's faithless, who's not ready to receive this. So this is quite an interesting point. Yaimam paramam guyam mad bhakteshva vidasyati bhaktim mai param pitva mame vaishyatya samshayaha. One who reveals the glories of this supreme secret to my devotees will attain transcendental devotion to me and reach me without a doubt. And this is I can't remember if this was Gurudev or Param Gumarj. They were pointing out this is why we have to hear from our gurus, right? Because so many things it's easy to just rush past, right? But I think it was Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he pointed this phrase out, or actually maybe someone asked him that question. He explained, but so this is interesting, right? Because he's saying here that he's not just speaking about like preaching to the general public or like that, but this is like something more refined that's being discussed here. Like devotees who are more developed in their understanding, they will help those who have a less developed understanding, right? So it's indicating this very refined type of exchange that's going on. It's not that everyone's just being lumped in together, but there's a gradation in realization, right? And so whatever one has, whatever understanding, whatever wealth one has in Krishna consciousness, that should be shared with others, to newcomers, but also to those of a more junior understanding than ourselves. We will try to support the faith, the understanding, the devotional enthusiasm of all practitioners, all persons, right? We may have little ourselves, but we may have a little bit more than someone else. And we can try to share that with others. So this is an interesting point, because it may seem puzzling, right? Because Krishna is saying, one who reveals the glories of the supreme secret to my devotees, then you might think, well, hang on, don't his devotees already know this? But what he's saying is that there's a gradation, right? Those devotees who are more advanced, they will share this with those who are more junior, less developed in understanding. So it's an ongoing thing. There's this kind of tendency to think like once someone gets initiated, then it's like, it's over, right? And we often see in our communities, right? Like there will be a lot, like if there's someone new coming who's like learning about the teachings, and everyone will like put their best front on and like try to inspire them. And then if they take initiations, like, oh yes, like home run, right? And then once they take initiation, then this kind of like the spark wears off, and then we just, we kind of lose that feeling of like freshness, right? That actually this is just the beginning, and we still need to support this person. It's a living, it's an ongoing, it's a dynamic thing. And we want to, honor everyone at every stage, right? Not take anyone for granted. Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priya pitamaha bhavita nacha me tasman anya priya taro bhuvi. In the entire human society, there is no one who pleases me by his actions more than he who preaches the glories of the Bhagavad Gita. Nor will there ever be anyone in the world dearer to me than he. Very strong statement. Adishyate chaya imam dharmyam samvadamavyayoho yana yagyena tenaham ishtasyami me mati. And one who studies with devotion this holy conversation of ours will worship me by the knowledge sacrifice. This is my conclusion. Shadavan nanasuyascha shinuyada piyo naraha sopi mukta shubhalokan prapnuyat punya karmanam. Simply by hearing this with an open heart, a faithful person is liberated and attains the auspicious abodes of the virtuous souls. Kachidetakshrutam parta tvayekagrena chetasa kachidajnana samoha pranashtaste dhananjaya. O Partha, have you listened to this with your undivided attention? O Dhananjaya, are you now free from the darkness of your delusion? And remember, Krishna is not just speaking to Arjuna, he's speaking to all of us, right? Arjuna is standing in our stead, right? This message is for us. Arjuna vacha nashto mohasmitir labdha tat prasadan maya chuta titosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Arjuna said, O infallible one, by your grace my delusion is now gone. I can now remember who I am. My doubts are destroyed, and I am firm in my resolve. I shall follow your instructions. This feels like a hallelujah moment. Sanjaya vacha ityaham vasudevasya partasya cha mahatmanaha sambadami mama shosham adbhutam roma harshanam. Sanjaya said, thus I heard this wondrous conversation of the Supreme Soul Vasudeva and the son of Pritha Arjuna, which arouses ecstasy in the hearts of all. Yasa prasadak shutavam himam guyam aham padam yogam yogeshwarat Krishna tatchakataya tasvayam. By the mercy of Sri Vyasadeva, I heard the supreme secret teaching of yoga sung directly by the Supreme Lord of Yoga, Lord Shri Krishna himself. Rajan samsmitya samvadami mamadbhutam keshavarjuna yopunyam vishyami cha mohorambhu. O King, ever remembering this miraculous, sacred conversation of Lord Shri Krishna and Arjuna, my heart thrills over and over again. Tatcha samsmitya rupamatya dutam harehe vismayo me mahanradi vishami cha puna punaha. And remembering, O King, I marvel at that astonishing, almighty, universal form of the Supreme Lord Hari, and my whole being thrills with ecstasy. Tatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Parto Dhanordhanaha Tatra Shirvijayo Mutu Yuva Matir Mama. Where there is Yogeshwar Krishna, where there is Arjuna, the winner of wealth with bow in hand, there prevails fortune, victory, prosperity, and virtue. This is my opinion. Iti Sri Mahabharate Shatta Sahasriyam Samhitayam Vayasikyam Bhishma Parvani Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Moksha Yoga Namashtadasho Jayaha. End of chapter 18. Path of liberation from the conversation of Shri Krishna and Arjuna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad, the yoga scripture of transcendental knowledge, and Bhishma Parva Sri Mahabharata, the holy scripture revealed by Sri Vyasadeva in 100,000 years. Okay, so we've just come to the end, chapter 18, the final chapter. And I would like to open up the table here for any thoughts from our group. I would just like to go back. I just wanted to point out one phrase. Where is it? Here it is. Kadishya vachanam tata. So this is a nice interplay here, right? So what was Krishna's final words to Arjuna? Now do as you please. Yatte chasi tata kuru. How does Arjuna respond? Kadishya vachanam tata. I shall follow your instructions. So, what's really, it's just kind of occurring to me now, like what's really interesting in this exchange is that, like, because the Lord likes to operate, he likes us to operate on the basis of free will, right? So that actually makes our actions all the more significant. Like we're not approaching the Lord because we're supposed to, or we have to, or we're going to get in trouble if we don't, or because someone's laying a trip on us, right? But I've thought about it, and this is what I want to do. And that's so much more powerful, isn't it? And more sustainable, because it's really coming from our inner desire. And it's like, I'm taking responsibility, I'm making my choice. And then this makes Arjuna all the more glorious, right? That he's choosing this, he's embracing the Lord's instructions, he's surrendering to the Lord's instructions. That is his wealth. That is his wealth, that he's voluntarily chosen that. I want to follow the Lord. I want to embrace his guardianship. I want to surrender to his divine will. That is not Krishna. It's not that Krishna is gaining something from that. Of course, in the plane of love, the Lord delights in that, but it's not that he needs that or he's incomplete if he doesn't have it. So it's actually our gain, right? When we surrender to the Lord, when we choose to follow. Kadishya vachanam tava. Right? So this is like the magical statement in Bhagavad Gita. Kadishya, what is your word? I will carry that out. I want to be an instrument of your divine will. And that is my gain. That is not your gain. That is my wealth. That I'm embracing that. That is my good fortune. That I have the opportunity to carry out your will. That is my opportunity. That is my gain. That is my wealth. So to have an opportunity, that is already very precious. So if we have that opportunity to give ourselves to the will of the Lord and the Vaishnavas, we want to take advantage of that. Okay. So we've just been through the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Would anyone in our group like to share? We are kind of out of time, and I would like to let's plan next week to be a meeting of sharing our thoughts on Bhagavad Gita, and perhaps everyone can come with some of their favorite verses. If you take some time out in the week to select at least one or more, if you like, of some of your favorite verses of Bhagavad Gita, then we can be nice to have some more interactive session. So yeah, please, that's my humble request to our group. Where next Thursday, before we begin our next cycle, we can have like a bit of a pause. And in the meantime, before we close for today, and by the way, welcome to all those who came a bit late. There was some confusion because the link didn't get posted as it normally was. So I know not everyone's here today, and some came in later. So welcome those who came in a little later. Steve joined, and Suvasini Devi joined, and Dana joined. So welcome everyone. Does anyone want to share any final words before we close for today? Gangalila, I'd love to hear some words from you. Some reflections on our reading today.
I just really love, I was thinking instantly like, oh, I should pick that last one. And then I'm thinking, no, I need to look at more verses, because I find it also very inspiring that it is all built on like, now you know it all, but now you're free to choose, and only, and that's up to me. And I have to choose every day. And that's to my good fortune. And I'm actually out of more words at this moment, because I also can't believe that we just finished the 18th chapter. You kind of danced us through it. So thank you so much. I really feel it very inspiring. And I have to invest also more in going deeper with what do I make it mean to me, what to exercise my free will, or is that some kind of conditioning, or is that run by some fear? So I think there's more to it for me to contemplate. So
yeah, that's something that really hit me too when I was going through that. It's really something to meditate on. This element of our choice, our loving heart-based choice. All right. Well, thank you all for your good company, and so I'll look forward to next week. Jai
Thank you very much.
Dandavad. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Shri Bhakti Rakshak.
Jai.
Jai.
All the assembled devotees, sincere secrets ki jai. Shri Harinam Singh.
Jai. Jai.
Premanande. Haribol.
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 Vishaka Didi Maharaj ki
Jai.
jai.
Jai Gurudev.